Every marketer wants to tailor their experience to match what customers want, but personalization can often be more about what marketers want to show than what customers want to see. What if you could replace outdated A B testing and adapt your content based on user behavior using reinforcement learning? Welcome to One Amazing Thing About Eikona. Today we're talking with Weingarten, CEO and founder at Eikona, and he's going to be sharing one amazing thing about their platform with us today. Nir, welcome to the show.
Hey, Greg, it's a pleasure being here.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing this in action in a minute here. Before we do, though, why don't you give a little background on you and your role at Eikona?
Sure. So my background is AI research, started in academia, doing my master's degree in machine learning, then in the industry as a data scientist. Have a lot of passion for AI and automating processes with AI. In this specific domain, creative processes that have some aesthetics into them. It's something that's just so much fun to work on. And we founded Eikona a year and a half ago, VC-backed company, HQ in Tel Aviv. And we're helping retention marketing teams adopt a new type of business process in their retention marketing process, which enables it to scale and to be much more monetized.
Great.
Yeah.
And so we're going to take a look in a second here, but before we do, can you talk a little, I know you touched on it just then, but can you talk a little bit more? What are we going to look at today, and who's the audience, and why is it important to them?
Sure. So we're going to see how this process actually looks like in production. And the audience is retention marketers, but it can, I think, be very interesting also for any marketer, especially performance marketers. And the situation today in retention marketing is that the process mostly looks like this. You have a marketer, they write a brief, they hand it over to a creative person and a copywriter sometimes, iterate back and forth until they get it to the final draft. Then the marketer needs to take that, somehow insert that into their marketing automation platform, add the links, schedule a campaign. That takes a long time, and it has two major bottlenecks that we've identified. The first one is creating the different creatives, which inhibits us from scaling and testing. The second bottleneck is actually operating the marketing automation platform and sending these all out. So obviously you waste a lot of time with your team, but the second thing you do is you end up sending out blasts. And, this is not the case, for example, in paid media, right? In paid media, we have an algorithm picking out different creatives, sending them to people based on their intents and their engagement. But in owned media, which is such a major revenue driver for B2C companies, the cheapest media channel that we have, and it's a place where we have a lot of first party data on, and we still send out blasts, and we think this makes this channel very much under monetized.
Great. Yeah. I agree. Well, yeah, let's take a look. Well, let's see it in action here.
All right, let's go. So we talked about the first bottleneck being creative production, right? What we're going to see now is basically the first step of this new process. You start off in Slack. And so you have a Slack channel, and you can talk to our bot there. The bot is called Ike. Now, Ike has connected to your existing marketing automation platform, has learned your brand, has learned your different SKUs, and is now ready to help you automate the process of creating content. So what you're going to do is we're going to call Ike, and then we're going to give him a command called full board, basically meaning create an email from scratch. And for the purpose of this demonstration, we've created this fictitious brand for handbags. So let's say we want to create an email for a 50% discount for one of the products in this fictitious brand, the City Tote. And we're going to add it in a brief. So we prepared something here beforehand. This is a brief like you would give a creative team, saying, what you would like to focus on, etc. We're just going to send that to Ike. Ike responded, now he's starting to work. He's going to get back to us in a minute. And I would just say, until he gets back, that this is basically what's happening now behind the scenes is that Ike is working inside of Figma and emulates the process of a creative marketer and breaking out different intents for your product and then composing this email from scratch, also in layers. Here we have it back. Thank you. Let's see what Ike cooked. So this is our fictitious brand, Morel from Paris. You have a complete email together with your hero shot and your email body. This is the product to its details. It's not a real product, but it is conserved between the different presentations. And this is practically good to go. But, let's say we want to edit something here, right? So I can ask Ike to change something. Like, let's ask Ike to change the hero image. So one of the key constraints we've heard from people using AI to automate creative processes is that it's really hard to get the brand right and the product right. And then it's really hard to insert edits. So one of the things we did here is tuned models over our partner's specific brand to get their products and brand right, but also made our agents work inside of Figma. Like you're seeing only my Slack. So I'm going to share my Figma later. So this is a link to your Figma, and you can actually edit there the email in layers.
Nice.
Yeah. So here you go. We've edited the hero image. Now there's some people in the background. Everything else remained the same. And this is how we ask for edits and create emails, basically from scratch. I would like to ask you, Greg, how much, what do you think that, marketers and creative teams could do with this time now that they don't have to, deal with this manual work?
Well, I mean, definitely. And I mean, it definitely saves a lot of time. I mean, I think you get to think more strategically and you get to think about more potential options, right? Instead of trying to get one email right, you can think in terms of more segments or more personalization and things like that too.
So yeah, that's exactly what we hear from our partners. So this is one of the things they love the most is, that feeling that they got their time back. And also that they now have time to do the more strategic things like planning, looking at the wider market, thinking like 3-4 months ahead.
Yeah.
That's exactly that.
Yeah. Nice.
So the second thing I'd like to show is that, we covered now how we create emails from scratch. And this is, by the way, this is also created as a template inside of your marketing automation platform together with all the links and everything needed. But the second bottleneck that we've discussed is actually setting this up as a campaign for different segments, maybe even trying to test and understand what worked. So what we're going to see now is how we're going to automate that process as well. And this is going to be also through Ike. So we're going to call Ike and I'm going to say schedule. All right. Let him think for a second. So what Ike does now is it sets up a campaign on your existing marketing automation platform. But it's going to set up what we call a dynamic campaign, meaning it's going to take that one piece of email that we've created and span variations out of it that try to explore different purchase intents and different messages. So Ike's going to look at past performance and stuff that he knows that worked in the past,
Mm.
but it's also going to look on what your competitors did and what did people write on your Shopify comments and different trends that it saw. It's going to compose a bunch of variations for you to approve such that we can test them at scale when we send out the content. So it's going to take a couple seconds. Yeah, there you go. So this is a link basically to the Eikona app where we actually control the dynamic campaign. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to reshare my screen. So here's an example of our campaign that we've just scheduled, right? So this is what we call a dynamic campaign. We can see it's scheduled. And this is the control version that we've approved, right? Together with the subject line and preview that we can edit. But below it, we have variations that are pending our approval as marketers or brand creatives. Each one of these variations basically is based on the original email and brief, but tries to poke at different purchase intents and messages like we talked. And so you can see that the product is displayed differently. And here we have a piece of social proof that it probably took from the website. And we can try to poke on FOMO. We can try to poke on some product attribute. And if we want to understand what Ike did, we can click on this brain symbol and Ike would explain, right? Yeah, that's cool. And you can also edit. So you can leave a comment to edit for Ike like we saw in a second before. And you can also open this in Figma. Cool. Right. So yeah, this just comes in layers, right? So this is not just one image. It comes in layers. You can just edit the text manually if you'd want. And once you're satisfied, you can just select the variations that you want. And now you're ready for your dynamic campaign that once sent is actually going to look like this. So here's an example of a sent campaign. So this is a different campaign that's already been sent. And what you see here is the outcome, the performance outcome of this dynamic campaign, wherein you have the different variations that you've approved, right? Competing through the algorithm for different populations using your first party data. And here you see this like plot of the algorithm running through time, allocating traffic dynamically. And at the end of the day, we can compute very measurably the amount of incremental uplift in clicks or in revenue that this smart allocation of traffic actually produced. And we can tell our partners, hey, this dynamic campaign produced a 30% increase in RPR or in CTR or in any other metric. From our experience, this is anywhere between 20 to 40% uplifts in revenue that we see consistently and across time compared to a control. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. I mean, this is the definitely qualifies as amazing in my book. So, I mean, a few things that stood out to me. I mean, first of all, just the way that you can interact with it using an interface. A lot of people are used to using Slack or things like that. So a very natural way of interacting with that. But yeah, I mean, the Figma integration as well is really interesting because I think a lot of the outputs that we tend to get kind of to what you were saying are just, it's a flat file that either you like it or you don't. And then it's kind of this regeneration process of you kind of cross your fingers and hope for the best when it regenerates that it did what you needed, but actually being able to interact with those layers if you want as well. And then of course I thought it was really interesting to see the transparency on, creating variations, but also, you flip the tile back and actually see why it's doing what it's doing. So yeah, lots of interesting stuff there, and I would imagine it's helping with the collaborative process as well because people can really start to see the thought process behind it, right? And start to, again, back to your earlier question, it enables people to think more strategically about what they're doing, right?
Yes, and can also span to other channels in the organization. So if you find a winner on email, you can take it either as a retargeting campaign, a reach campaign, or even an acquisition campaign because maybe Ike will tell you, hey, this worked really well for your prospects. So just take it as is to paid media.
Yeah, yeah, love it. Well, yeah, this is great to see this in action. I would love to get my hands on it for a couple of clients I work with myself. But for those that want to learn more, where should they go?
Well, I'd recommend visiting our website. It's eikona.io. That's EIKONA.io.
Great. Well, again, I'd like to thank Nir Weingarten, CEO and founder at Eikona, for joining the show. You can learn more about Nir and Eikona by following the links in the show notes.